Over to you,
Awesome.
Herbert, and welcome to the Geography with the Augmented Reality webinar.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Daria. So hi, everyone. I'm just going to share my screen here real quick. That way we can see, because I have this presentation here, and I want to share this with you. So I'm going to start the slideshow. Can we see that? Yes? So I'm going to be asking questions throughout as I share with you this presentation, and my aim is so that we are fully engaged and you're getting the most. So feel free to ask the questions anytime you have questions and things like that. And the aim of this webinar is really to help you engage a student in geography, but really this could also work in other classes and other subjects and other concepts that you'll be working with. So very, very quickly, my aim again is to help you give your students an unrivaled, rich, interactive teaching and learning experience so that they can engage with the lessons without any limitation. And this is regardless for the responsibility you feel as a teacher, whether it's overwhelming or not. This is really going to simplify your teaching and transform it. Now, before I ever promise too much, what I wanted to for you to look at this here is to see it that it's not something that it only fits a very specific types of people. It really fits for any teacher who is teaching those primary students aged between 5 and 12 years old. So whether you're a teacher teaching a language and all these, while today we are focusing on geography, I want you to keep those in mind because maybe your colleague could be teaching one of these subjects and it could be something that you could share with them, right? And our whole aim here and thing that we're really passionate about is helping teachers make that lasting difference in students' learning experience. And that's my aim. I hope you get that today by the end of this talk. So very quickly, one of the biggest problems that we are seeing is that a lot of students are not really enjoying being in school. In fact, only 34% of elementary kids like school because they enjoy learning. That's a huge number of students, 66%, huge number of students don't really enjoy being at school and learning from schools. And so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to share with you 3 secrets that I'm really excited to share to you, which are really going to revolutionize the way you interact with your students and how you invite them to learn and engage with the lessons that you have to deliver. Now, very quick about me. So my name is Herbert, and I am an augmented reality integration specialist. Now, that's just a code word for we help teachers make learning fun. And together with our team, we've been very lucky to be working with a lot of ambassadors as well as other teachers and educators from around the globe, with over 4,000 educators, over 35,000 students log into Augmented Classroom in over 62 countries and so on and so forth. So we've been really lucky, and along the way, we've been recognized as people really shaping this space by some of the big organizations as well as educational bodies that you may know, like Forbes, Inc., magazines, and all these other ones that you may be aware of. Now, and today, really, my talk is going to be focusing on learning. But before I get into that, one question I have for you is, what is learning? Does anyone want to try and take a shot at this question? In the text, in the chat box, in the chat there. What is learning? And don't worry about the answer. This is just for you. You're thinking as we go along. The way the dictionary defines learning is that it's a process of gaining new understanding, knowledge, behavior, skills, values, attitude, and preferences. Now, some of these things are very important, such as behaviors, skills, values, and attitudes. These are very, very, very important things. And as a teacher, being able to give this to a student in a very meaningful and impactful way means that you've done a really good job, because then they can go and develop characters that makes the person, that they'll be proud of, that they can become as well. And so we want to really help teachers be able to do that. And so my goal is to share with you these 3 secrets about this learning process, right? And how you can use that essentially to make that lasting difference when you're presenting to your students, when you're giving them that lesson, when you're inviting them to learn. And the whole goal here, the end game of all this process is that they can get the understanding, the knowledge, behavior, skills, values, attitude, and preferences that you as a teacher, as a parent, and even themselves, the student, they can be proud of.
And we have a comment in the chat. We have a comment in the chat for you about learning.
Please.
Learning is the active process of gaining new information.
Exactly. Spot on. And one of the things that we do is we work again with a lot of teachers to understanding how they see their process as learning and what they face as a challenge. And one thing that they say is they have so many responsibilities, right? And this becomes something that prevents them from being able to deliver this learning, to facilitate this learning for the students. And what I want to do is really show you a way to simplify your learning so well, and reduce all this workload, and not really taking away, but making it super manageable. We want to support you in that regards. With that said, the first secret I want to share with you today is called exploration. And the big idea behind exploration is that learning happens so well when you build excitement and curiosity, because excitement always leads to curiosity. When someone is excited, they have energy, they're empowered, and so on and so forth. And the whole idea behind how does exploration really work is that when we're excited and we're curious, we start asking questions. And when we have questions, we are ready to receive the information, the answers, right? To try and face those challenges. And what this creates is what Tony Robbins calls magical moments. If you think back in your life, you won't really remember everything, but you do remember these specific events that happens because something happened in those moments, if that makes sense, right? And you can see here from teachers, they also agree in that exploring is one very big important area for their students to be able to engage in. With that
I have
said,
one more comment, Herbert.
yes, please.
Learning is knowledge acquired through study, experience, or being taught.
Exactly. And you can see that it's not just really about just the knowledge, because as a teacher as well, you are in that position where the students, they admire you and they want to be like that person they look up to. So they take away some of these silent values that they never ask, but they try to mimic, they try to copy those and take those from whoever they look up to as well. And so we want to help you, as teachers, be able to do that for them as well, right? And for teachers, exploration, they see it as a very natural way of learning in the real world as well. And we want to show you how you can bring that natural way of learning in the classroom very, very quickly and effectively. With that said, the other secret I really want to share with you today is creation. And the main thing to understand about creation here is that as humans, we love to create in general, right? We use a lot of our minds when we're creating. We're so dedicated, we're so focused, trying to bring something new, but there's also so much emotions involved, and so there's so much memories as well involved into that, right? Kids recognize that they enjoy creating, so it's not just teachers, kids recognize that, right? And one of the key benefits of this is that it involves all the problem solving, reasoning, experimentation, as well as interaction with the subject, right? Whether English, geography, whatever it is, when they're creating, there's so much involved than just listening and try to pay attention, if that makes sense. And the third secret I want to share with you today is the collaboration. And the idea is we are all really born learners, but we learn so much better from people who we are associated with in some shape or form. If they are our parents or our peers, by being able to work together with someone else, we learn much more faster because we are connected with them in some shape. And this gives us some skills that are very valuable today, like meta skills. These are like the ability for us to form teams, work together, ask people to join us, or ask if we can join them, so we can get that knowledge, understanding, as well as community, if that makes sense. And we're going to be showing you how you can do that with your students today as well, right? So one of the things that a lot of the teachers and schools face is they always say, oh, we don't have money, it's too expensive, we don't have a budget. And that is true. I couldn't agree so much more with what teachers are saying with this thing in regards to budget. And one thing I want to show you here very quickly is, if you were just to plan a trip for students to a zoo, removing all the costs that's about the teacher, or maybe another teacher who has to be there to support the teacher who's there on the trip and everything, or extra hours, just the transport ticket and the insurance alone for the 30 students, it's already really, really expensive. But we want to be able to bring this idea of exploring with students in the classroom, not at that cost, because that's just not going to work if we try and scale that over the period. And this is just a one-day event That's going to be fun for a while. What about next week, Tuesday, right? What happens then? And so on and so forth. So very quickly, teachers have recognized that they want this environment where they can teach their students, but also really help them learning. But at the same time, they're faced with so many challenges. And so we want to show you how we're going to eliminate that. So for example, there's a principal here, Veronica, and what she feels is that people today, the things are moving very quickly, and they're in this environment where the attention, they are very disengaged because of the type of activities that we have. I'm trying to rephrase them, is that you have this static, the book are static and they have to pay attention, but the games and things that children are using are so interactive, right? So there's this big disconnect between the natural way and the way they want to be learning. So you can see that the teachers we are working with are really, they're recognizing what they want, but they're not able to meet it in the classroom all by themselves. And we're going to show you how you can meet that in the classroom by yourself, if that makes sense, regardless of the teacher, of the teaching position you are in. And that's why we have a diverse examples here we are showing you, right? So I want to introduce you to Augmented Classroom and how it simplifies teaching for any teacher without the need of any technical skills or design skills, right? And what Augmented Classroom is, or what augmented reality is really just combining two things, the digital world and the physical world. So here you're looking at this little video where there's a map behind, which is a physical thing, right? It's on the table. And then the student is interacting with this digital thing, which is the planet. And the planet is being able to see. So now the students are linking two types of information. A map, which by itself would be very boring, it's just name, but with the planet, which they can now ask questions, how does everything fits together? And we're going to show you how you can do that with these kind of subjects. So I had shared with you the 3 secrets. And as I mentioned, the aim is so you can take those sacred features of exploration, creation, and collaboration, and really transform your teaching process in any subject you're teaching. So don't just limit yourself to geography, but for today, we are looking at how you do that if you're in a geography classroom, if that makes sense. So here's a quick example of a student using this in the classroom. Now I'm gonna play this. It won't play sound for you as far as I'm aware, but you're gonna see what the student is doing and look at the reaction of the students over here.
We don't have sound.
Yeah, I realize without the sound is not as fun because there's so much excitement. Settle without sound, it's not as fun. But you can see there, the entire classroom is really engaged in a very, very simple, very, very simple. And you can see there's the map, and they're combining two things. That is the map and how the map links with all this digital information that the student can engage with, if that makes sense, right? And this augmented classroom that we just shared, I just shared with you there really works with all the platforms that the students and teacher today will be really exposed. And what I'm talking about are laptops, computers, Chromebooks, or mobile devices such as iPads um, and iPads and mobile phones, right? So it will work with all those, whether they're iOS or Android devices, it will work with all of those. And the other thing is that it works with multiple languages, right? As well as it's tailored for kids learning really at that early level between 5 to 12. And these are some of the languages here that you're looking at, and it's a global curriculum based, right? And we do help teachers with this training if they need to understand themselves, so they still have that edge of the teacher. It really is very, very simple. If a teacher can point and click, they can do it. Really, it's easy. 5-year-olds can do it, and you will see, I mean, 5-year-olds are already doing it, right? And this is another example where a teacher has a student learning about space, and you can see here the real world, there's a poster, but on the digital world, it's combining and bringing new information for the student, and the student is reading in class. Again, this is very nice to see the students learning to read, but you don't have sound, so you don't have to worry about that for today. We're gonna jump quick. We're gonna have a demo for ourselves. this is really good to see the student learning how to basically read about something about outer space. Now, since we don't have any sound, we won't be able to see them as they go through that process. But the idea here is the same, is that it works with any subject you really want to integrate. The limit is your imagination, if that makes sense. And here we have a mathematics teacher, and you can see she's only teaching first graders. But the idea here is, again, it's going to bring, using a simple page and combining it with the digital world, we're bringing in new dimension to the knowledge. Now they can interact with these things that otherwise were really boring and very maybe hard to grasp for the student. Why would they need to understand this? That makes sense. And so the whole goal here is we are not just making easy for the student to interact with this, but we can even take adventures to other countries, understand other, heritages from other nations and things like that, really even beyond planet Earth, all the way out to space, as you've seen already. Again, this is another quick video of what happens when the students have access to this platform on their hands. They quickly jump into the learning mode, as opposed to, the alternative, which would have been the teacher has to get them to pay attention in the first place. Again, this is a video. It's sad there's no sound because the students are super excited. They're already learning by themselves. So there really is no sound, huh?
No sound, but you can comment.
Yeah. So basically what they're seeing is they're seeing wildlife come live, different habitats and all that, and they're commenting and they're actually talking to each other what they see, and they're looking at different continents on this map, which is, it's a way to basically bring the classroom together using digital tools as well. It's an easy way for the teacher to really expand on the whatever it is that they're teaching. And these are from core subjects. So if you're teaching any of those geography, what do they call them? Social studies, right? They really fit well into that category there, right? So as I mentioned before, to summarize very, very quickly, the goal of this is to allow teachers to be able to prepare, manage, and basically deliver interactive 3D lessons. And they don't have to create anything as digital skills. They just have to be able to look at their lesson and see, given what application we have, how they can just combine the two together. They don't have to create anything as in become a technical guru or anything like that. It's very, very simple. And the other thing here is they can integrate the augmented reality into any curriculum and take the students basically onto these learning experiences that are not just limited to books, but also what happens in the real world as well. Now you're bringing the real world into the classroom, if that makes sense, right? And so this is what we do in essence. We are taking a very boring subject and making it, really bringing it to life and making it so that students can interact with it. And with that said, my goal now is to jump very quickly and give you a very brief demo on how we go about doing this augmented reality thing that I've been talking about for so long, right? So let me see if I can share this with you, that quick demo. I'm gonna click escape. And then here we have our augmented reality platform. And on this platform, when you come, you'll be greeted with this front page where you'll see we have a little bit of information about the age range, which is, as I mentioned, 5 to 12. A few of the teachers, we work with a lot of teachers, but here are a few of them, as well as a lot of other details that you may want to know or you may want to look at. I won't go into that too, as I've covered a lot of that as well. But if you go here, you'll be able to sign in through here. And from there, you'll have access to the dashboard, which is basically the front page there. Here you have a very short, brief tutorial video that will walk you through the platform. And you can also get a very quick start with the applications that are available, web applications, either for geography, here you're for geometry. So any of the mathematical principles that you want to cover, if you're able to cover with this application. For space or interstellar or solar system, this application will be really good. And then if you want your students to create something, and by create, I mean bring them together to collaborate and maybe work on a project, maybe about habitat, what animal groups were, or belong where or something like that, maybe just teach history, this will be a way for them to feel involved in the creation of the content or learning. And that, again, this is not limited to anything I'm saying. The teacher's imagination is the limit, really. So very, very quickly, I'm going to jump into the applications that are available on our right here. Or I could just, this is going to be a web, I'm going to go here so I can show you that there's more to these applications. So for example, if we are looking at the geography application, which I promised you today, you know, you can cover geography, geology, biology, history. There's really is a lot more, but depending on what you want, there's also the social science. Is it social sciences? Social sciences? No. What's the word I'm looking for? Social studies is the word I'm looking for. We can cover a lot of that as well in here. So if we go to that app, you'll see that you have the app that you can download from App Stores or Google Play Store. In fact, if you want to join me on this quick session, I really recommend you either download it, depending on your mobile phone. Just go to the App Store, Google Store, and download it for me if you can, if you want to join on this little demo. And then here we have the map that the student could use. Ideally, you want this printed, or we can ship it to you if that's what you prefer. We can ship the map to you, and then you'll be able to use it to bring your student live, your lessons live. It's a big map, as you saw, big high quality map about A1 size. And in this case, I'm just going to open it on the next page while you are downloading this app. Can I get a quick hands who is joining us, who is downloading this app? Do you have anyone downloading it?
Yes.
Awesome, awesome.
But you can also share the link for those who want to use
Oh,
the
I will
desktop.
definitely do that. I will definitely do that. So I'm just waiting for people to see the name. So this is the name of the app, ARC Geography. So just go to the App Store or Play a Google Play, and then be able to download it. And I will share the link. You will see two screens, even on my screen here. So don't worry if you can't download the app. But I just want you to get the feel of augmented reality, so you can see why this gets me excited every morning.
And also the important thing here is that it works regardless. You don't need necessarily to download, because Herbert can share the web interface, and it will work as well. But for those who are downloading the app, Herbert will share the picture on which you need to face the camera for experience of the real augmented reality.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so now that you've seen the app, I'm gonna go here, and then I'm going to begin. I'm going to give us a link to join this. So if you are using a desktop computer and you want to join this demo as a student and see how it will be like for your student and get that feel, I'm going to be showing how we do that. So before I do that, very quickly, you can see this will be the teacher's screen, right? So as a teacher, when you log in on your computer, teacher's computer, this is where you'll be. On here, there's all these languages, these wonderful different languages that you can use. And then on here, this is where you'll begin your class. Now, if you downloaded the app, this is the code you're going to enter to join the class. If you didn't, I'm going to give you this link here in the chat. And then I want you to open that in a new tab, and then you will join the class via that link. Using this link, you'll join the classroom as well. And I'm also going to open it here so that we can see so you should be able to see my screen still. So you can see the screen from student. So this now is the student perspective. And I'm going to put the two screens side by side so that you can see what we are talking about. So I'm going to put this screen here and this screen here. Then I'm going to share both of them so we can see what Herbert is talking about. So now you see two screens. And by the way, if you have any questions, just put them in the chat at any time.
Herbert, a quick question here. For those who are using mobile applications, should I share a marker in the chat for them to use it on the screen?
Oh, I will share the marker.
I
will share the marker. So I'm with you there. I am with you. So this is, I'm going to make the screens smaller so we are all, okay, so now we can all see everything. So if you're looking at this, you can see there's a teacher screen and student screen here. Now I'm just going to create a real small nickname here for my student to join the class, and now they'll be waiting for the lesson from the teacher. Again, if you're joining using the mobile app, just enter this code into the app. So you can see there's one student connected, and that's this screen. If you want to experience augmented reality, so just enter this code, and if you're having any issues, just post them in the chat, and we'll try and resolve those for you there. So this is the code. I'm going to try and type this code into the chat. That way we can, awesome, I have 2 students, that's fantastic. So you'll also be able to see your students joining essentially. So that way they are not, ideally you want to do this before the class starts. So in the chat, there's the code there as well, in case I move on too fast, right? So now you have 4 students. If anyone else is joining, the code is in the chat, right? And let me know if you're having any issues so we can look at those together. All right. So assuming we have 3 students, and then I'm going to try and show us how we will interact with that planet, right? What you had been seeing on those videos. So for example, today I want my students maybe to learn about the planet Earth, and we have our map, which is here. I've already opened it. Our map, which is already here, and I've already opened it. So now I want us to learn about that. So as a teacher, I will go here, and I have that map on the table. And then I'll go to planet Earth, and I want them to interact with this. Now, very quickly, you can see on this student, on their desktops, they can already interact with that. But if the students are on the mobile, now if you open your mobile apps, you would notice that your camera, the app is only opening the camera, right? You'll see it opens the camera. Can you comment? Have you done that yet? Can you see it on your app? I can only see. So open your app, the app that you just signed into. Yes, the geography app. You'll see it's opening only a camera. So if you point your camera here, your mobile phone camera onto this map on my screen, you'll see this globe, this planet. Can you see it? Comment in the chat if you can see it so far.
You are a bit too fast.
I am too fast, aren't I? See, I get so excited. It's almost like I've drank coffee or something. Awesome. Struggling with the Wi-Fi connection. That's perfectly all right. Is the app opening? So if we look here, this is the app on the screen, teacher. If you open on your camera phone, you should be able to point your phone on this and see the augmented planet. Has anyone been able to do that with their phone yet? Not yet.
Yeah, just give us a moment.
We had 4 students. Let me double check here. Because yeah, we have 4 students logged in. So if you point your camera phone here, so point the app, your camera up here. So you're just taking your mobile phone like so. And then once you've joined in the class, you're just pointing that towards the app. Imagine this was printed and it was on the table, and then you're just pointing the camera. What you will do is you will see this, right? And this map has specially been made so that it creates this augmented reality world that the students can interact with, right? So it's a specially designed map to bring your students on this augmented reality experience. So if you're not able to join using your phone, don't worry about it. We're going to look here at how it would work. It's the same experience. It just means if you want them to really engage with the lesson, to experience augmented reality with so much fun, you would use a mobile device, but it also works just as well with desktops and laptops. In this case here, what we're looking at is a virtual world, right? So they can interact with this planet just as much. So maybe they could see the weather, and this could be useful in explaining how the weather currents occur, right? Or maybe you want them to understand how that, now this is a tongue twister. This word is a tongue twister, tectonic plates, right? Maybe you want them to understand how the layers, the planet Earth works, right? maybe you want them to understand how the crusts have been shifting and so on and so forth. All these things, the magnetic fields, all these things can be explained. Now, this is a very simple example, but we could always go into more complex subject. And you can do this either using the digital here, if they brought in their laptops, or you can do that with the augmented reality by pointing onto this map here, right? There's no much of a limit. It's going to be similar learning experience, just different ways of attaining new information in a way that raises our curiosity, if that makes sense, right? Right. So as a teacher, for example, another thing maybe I may want to do, right? I may want to maybe teach about the continents, maybe the animals from each of the different continents or something like that. And in this case, when I open on this map, this is what the students are seeing. But if you point your camera again on one of these continents here, depending on which one you've selected, it's going to select that continent and then it's going to show the animals. So on the digital world, they can select, let's say, Africa, and then this is going to bring up the African continent, right? And it's going to bring all the animals that have evolved to live on that continent. And this on itself is a lesson on itself, where the student can learn about those specific animals or so on and so forth. Or you could have different students learning on different continents, animals, and then coming together to present what they've learned together. You can see how really the imagination comes down to the teacher and how far they want to take these concepts. It doesn't limit the teacher, the students and what they can learn. It's just one very simple example, right? Now, I don't know how many of us are joining. Let me see here.
We have new people. We have new people, so you may need to create another link for them to join.
Okay, well, the link is going to be the same link here. If I just click, if I just go home. So if I'm in this home page here, and if you just, I'm going to share this link again. That's perfectly right. That's perfectly right. We are in different time zones, and I think I'm also going too fast. I apologize for that. So much excitement. So I've shared the link again. If you want to try it on the desktop, anyone struggling with Wi-Fi, if you want to try and join using the desktop, the link is also there. It's going to be same experience. It's just one experience is augmented reality, and the other one is digital reality as well. But the idea here is the same. So we have 5 people joining. And if I shared, let's say I wanted us to learn about animals as from, let's say, Australia, right? I can assign that, and now what I just did there is I've assigned that to students to learn about these animals, and the idea here is they can learn in groups. This is going to divide the students into teams, right? And then they will start working together. Now, my screen here, for some reason, it's a little slow. Okay, so I'm just gonna try and join this classroom and then show you what will happen. So let me just hide this for a second. So we have a student there who was interacting with this. So I'm just gonna restart so we can all join it together and see it here as well, right? So if I assign maybe a challenge or an exercise or a game, as you may call it, I may go here. And then let's say I want Australia, and then I want to assign it to the class. So hopefully, okay, now there's just one student. I think I left a few students behind. So depending on if you have the devices, so if you have your mobile device, let's say on or off, sometimes it may mean that when I'm starting a class, you are not joining in because you had your device off, if that makes sense, right? And in this case, if I start here,
and you may need, for those who are on mobile devices, open and
yes,
zoom in the map on the Australian continent.
Yeah. on the continent of geography. So when I start here, you can see on the virtual world here. Now, if you're joining on the mobile phone, what you will see is you'll have to point your continent, you'll have to point your mobile phone on this continent of Australia here to be able to access.
It's too small, Herbert, you need to zoom in.
Yeah,
for Australia specifically.
I'm trying to get to that manually. I think it's Control Plus, is it? Okay, so I'm gonna try and zoom in with this maybe. Okay, it's not letting me. Strange.
It does.
Is it? Is it zooming in?
Yeah.
It seems to be.
The question about French-speaking students, so the solution is in multiple languages. It's in French as well.
Yeah. So this is what, so if you point your camera here to the Australian continent, you should be able to see it.
No, it's too small. I tried and it's too small.
It's too small, is it? Okay. Let's see. What else can we do? For some reason, it's not letting me zoom on this. This is why we ship out the big map. On this, it's can I not see the zoom? Am I the only one not seeing the zoom?
So, but they understood that you know how the game works. People say it's cool. So we will need to share one of the markers with you for you to try it out.
Okay.
Or when you log into the augmented classroom the first time, you have the digital version of the map which you can zoom in and play around on the phone as well.
Yeah, I was trying to find it here. Yeah, for the languages, there's the language option when you log in. It's on the top right here usually. So this is the map, and for the students here, they're able to basically work together from multiple devices, and then maybe interactively solve the challenge that the teacher has provided for them. And Daria, I'm not so sure I can make this. For some reason, it's just not getting the size I'm looking for, which is very strange. I was so able to do this not a while ago. I think Chrome has updated this thing. Let's see.
That's fine. We can try to join with the link simply to play the game.
Yeah.
So maybe you can show how the quest part also works, which can be applied to any subject, but to geography as well.
So with the quest, the way it works is, so now I'm going to finish this lesson here and I'm going to end it, right? And then, yeah, so I'm just going to end this lesson here, or maybe quick cancel, and I've frozen everything. So I'm going to go back to the apps, right? And this is the ARC quest where you can give tests or anything like that, or quests or quizzes or anything like that, but using augmented reality in this case, right? So I'm just going to make this full screen so you can see it properly. So if I go here, this is the app that the student will need, the teacher will have to download on the devices. And this works mostly, basically, the way it works is the teacher will create the quest or the quiz on the computer. But in order for the student to interact with the content, they will need the app. It only works on the app for the students, essentially. And for the teacher to create the quest or the quiz or the test, all they have to do is go to this teacher's platform, and then from here, they can either access quizzes, quests, or lessons already made from other teachers in the public library. These are lessons made by other teachers. And this can be used to teach geography or other languages. So if we look at, I don't know if we can see that. I think the text is too small. Here we have an example of vocabulary of the farm. So this is essentially using the geography app to teach primary students about social sciences, right? And that's one example. Another example would be teaching English, teaching science, habitats, again, geography, teaching maths. Really, again, the limit is the teacher's imagination. And it's for different age level, as long as they're 5 to 12. This should work perfectly well if they can read. And to create a quest, and it's very, very simple. the teacher can create here, but I'll show you one of the ones that I already have very, very quickly, how the creation process works. It'll ask you for things like the subject name, the tag, which is basically how you're going to categorize this so that later on you're able to remember, right? And if you want it to be public or to be private, how hard it is for the students, how complex it is, what age level, and what subject you want to use. Sorry, what language you want to use, right? And to create these questions, you basically, as an example here, you could, let's say if I wanted to add a question, I simply type it and then select either whatever image I choose to use, which will be using the augmented reality, and I'll show you how that works later. And from that, that's it really. It's just typing the question and then selecting which of these answers will be the right answers and which of these is not the right answers. And then from there, it's that simple. I don't know if I made that complex or made that simple there when I was explaining, but the idea is once you have it to look something like this, we have the right answer and the answers that aren't correct. So it's more of a multiple choices, right? And so the student can take part in this. And the way the students are going to engage with this, it's going to be something like, excuse me there for a second. It's going to be something like this. I'm going to show you a quick video here so we can look at that in a video format. So here we can see a student walking around. They see an object, and then there's a question comes up. Now they have to figure out which of this is the right answer. They select the wrong answer, the right answer shows up, right? They're looking for the next question. They find an object. Now then the question will come up, and what is this code? So you can see this is a simple simplification of what you could use this, how you could use this. But the idea is now you're getting them involved in the classroom. You're getting them walking around and engaging with the content in the classroom, or maybe outside of the classroom, as long as they can connect, and that should be perfectly fine, right? So that's just another example of how you could use augmented reality. And if we go back to the applications that we have, there are many ways, including one thing that I mentioned earlier, the ability to create. And how this works essentially is the teachers will basically have an environment like the one we were looking at on the students' screens. You remember when I was showing you here on the students' screen? So they'll have the ability, but this case, it will just be a virtual environment where students from multiple different devices can work on one thing together, right? And what that means is you have students thinking and collaborating together. Again, this is the language options. If you're wondering, what about if the students are teaching French and so on and so forth? This is the language option. You can select what language you're using, depending. There's 13 languages. We're gonna have to look at that. Why is it showing two? There's 13 languages. We'll have a look at that. Why it's showing two for a second. But the idea here is you're able to
Herbert, we have a question here. How would you as a teacher place the 3D object through photos of the place, like at my school? So I can answer this question. So it's easy. You select there is a huge library of objects based on different subjects. You select the objects, you select your own questions, and you create essentially this test yourself. Then you just give the code to students, they join, and you as a teacher then have the results of their interactions, which answers were correct, which were not correct. And you can do it with any subject you want, including geography, as well as the topic of this one is geography. But there is a library of objects in the quest section.
Yeah. And here, even here as well, you're able to see the wide variety of objects. But the idea here is you can give students a task of either creating specific environment. Okay. So you can give the students either a task of creating specific environments, or what you can do is, so the way this would work is, one example I've seen is the teacher may ask students to explain about city lives using written, to follow written instruction and recreate, maybe a structure about city life, something that they may want to learn to understand how everything works together. I'm just going to refresh this. I think I've been loading the apps over and over again, so it's misbehaving a bit. I need to make sure this is showing very well here. Hide. Okay, so let's say, and what I wanted to show you here was how it basically all fits in together. If you wanted, let's say you have several students and you want them to create together, what does that mean? Where do they get those objects? The objects are basically, I have a geography app open somewhere here. I should close that probably.
Try to create a new one, maybe.
Okay. So the idea is the same as in when you open this thing, when it opens up onto your right, yeah, you can see I have several applications open. That's why it's not letting me, it's not letting my Google Chrome has several applications open, so it's not letting me run this. So when you have this here, basically it will let you select whatever objects there is for the students that they can use, depending on what category of thing you want, whether it's a city object or whether it's living animals or anything like that. It's all there. But there's also the options. For example, if you're looking in the IRC Quest, which I was talking about, the teachers can actually upload images as well. So if they wanted to do that, right? So it's not just limited to the object in here. So if you want to turn, let's say, some of the things in the books into something that the student can interact with, there's also an option for you to do that there. It's not just limited to that, right? Now, I've been going very fast and I'm sure you have a lot of questions. Are there any other questions that I can answer at the moment?
Not that I see at the moment.
Okay, so Augmented Classroom is available to you. You are able to log in here. This was just a very quick overview for you to see. There is no way we could cover all this content, and there's just so much for you to do there. I showed you really just on the surface what's available. And
you
as
can
an
show,
example,
by the way, the languages, Herbert.
Yeah, and just as an example of what do I mean that there's a lot. I mean, there's so many lesson plans that you have access to. So as a teacher, if you have a subject, there's a chance that there's a lesson plan you're looking for. The lesson you want to teach is already being done here by another teacher, probably. So for example, maybe you're teaching about animal defense mechanisms. There's probably a teacher, this teacher has probably already helped you in creating a simple, if you follow the instruction, you'll know exactly how to use this to help your students understanding animal defense mechanism, and you're using augmented reality. This is just one example of what I'm showing you here. There's a lot, and I went here and I wanted to show you just, for different age ranges, there's plenty, and a lot of these are created either by our team or by other teachers who want their students to be able to engage with these lessons. So this is in Europe, this is Egypt, US, Europe, Middle East. There's a lot available. There's a lot available, right? And if we go back here, something I wanted to show you is the curriculum outline, right? We also have this option. So if you're maybe wondering, will this fit our curriculum outline? Depending which curriculum outline, it should fit it perfectly well. If you just go down here, you can select whichever one of these curriculum fits you well to rearrange the content for you. And if you follow the link, you'll have access to what you're looking for, right? So you are not limited in any chance, really. This provides a platform for you to build on what you're already teaching with more examples and additional resources, right? And in terms of languages,
there is a question. 1 second. 1 second, Herbert, there's a question. With regards to placing the object in the space, can we use only the virtual spaces given on the app, or we can place them around in our school? So to place them around in your school, you use the Quest option. And if you want to build some scene or some specific topic, you use the create option. And the important thing here for the create option, there is an opportunity for you as a teacher to create a lesson, broadcast it, and several students can do the work in the same augmented space, and they can see the actions of them of each other. And placing the objects around school, that will be the Quest one.
So to add the object, so here I'm in the quest, and here I was showing the example of creating a question. If you didn't see it, oh wow. I went here, I went into the quest, and I had this quest which I was creating, right? And I wanted to add myself a new question, right? And to add an object, there's already selected there's objects already pre-categorized, right? Depending on which one you want, or you can upload an image. That's maybe from your textbook, or maybe in the school, maybe, if you want them to use. And once you've done that, it's just going to be an image here that they will have to look for on the mobile device. Does that make sense now? Right?
Yeah,
so I wanted
sense.
to show you that. Awesome. That's fantastic. So that's the idea there. And I wanted to make sure we have that there. Any other question that we can answer? Did we skip anything? The languages are just here. They're all over here. So when you're in the dashboard, you have access to the languages here. You can contact us. And then there's these other things here you can use to connect. I mean, unless there's a very specific questions that I may have not covered.
I think all perfect. If any questions, you're always welcome to get in touch with us.
Awesome. And the other thing you can do is if you wanted to get a very quick start and understand how does this work, we have created, basically we can send you the map for you to explore with your students in the classroom with augmented reality, as well as a very, with a basic app so that you can first understand if you're worried about jumping into it and feeling overwhelmed or anything like that. Because for some teachers, they just want to explore. We can send you the app, right? All you have to go is here, and then you have access. You can have that map shipped to your address depending on where you are globally, and then from there you have access to the app, geography app, to start exploring with your students, and maybe even have the opportunity to show your other teachers of the capabilities. So I'm just going to put this for you in the link for you to get started. And what this will do for you is it'll help you take that one step into augmented reality. And you can print, but this map, as I showed you, it is a huge map. It's an A1 map, unless your school has a printer that size. If you want your students to engage, and by engage, I mean all your students interacting together, it may not be a very easy task for everyone. So for example, one thing
for
that
the map, I can give you a comment. For the map, you can print it, no problem at all. The only issue is it needs to be on A1 format.
Yeah, it's this big. You can see here how big it is. It sits on, you put it on the desk. It's quite huge. And if you want your students to be able to gather around together like this, so they're interacting with it, ideally you want it to be this size so they can see these objects so well, because there is so much content that they can just do with it.
Because the smaller the map is, the smaller the objects are, and it will be uncomfortable for you just to see them. So, but if you have the opportunity to print it on the big format, of course you can do that.
Yeah, we can send it all to you. We are giving this map free for teachers. We're just asking them to cover the shipping of the map, and that is it. And the other thing I wanted to say about this is you can also zoom in the objects there, but it's something that your students are going to be working together on the independent continents, perhaps, or other things like that. And that is why it's the size it is. Or if you want, you can also buy it on Amazon. It's available on Amazon, right? They can buy it on Amazon if they want, right?
Yeah, there are some resellers that do it on Amazon. So whatever you prefer.
Like this is not just limiting you. It's really just letting you know that the opportunity, it's easy for you to get started, right? And we're trying to help you get started. So it's there. You can either get it on Amazon or you can get it for us on that website where we'll ship it to you. I mean, we'll give it to you for free and then you just cover the cost, or you can buy it on Amazon for the full price. And the idea is to just get you jumping in with your students in augmented reality and see firsthand what does it do for your students when they're learning in this environment and they're immersed and they're asking questions. And I wish you could have heard the videos of the students that I was showing you on my presentation and how well interacted they are when they're working with this this content when it's like this, because for them it's almost like magic. Are there any other questions that you'd like me to answer?
Only comments that that I think that the presentation covered a lot, and we do encourage you to register. You have 14 days trial for the whole solution. You have access to all the printouts. If you have any questions, do reach out to us. We're here to help. And thank you very much, Herbert, for this fantastic presentation.
Awesome. I'm delighted you find it useful. I hope you'll take the next step, which I think is the most important step, which is just jump into it and actually use it and see how useful it is. Because really, unless you use it, you won't know how impactful it is. And I know today we didn't connect properly, but use it with your students and see how impactful it is in terms of their learning and their understanding and how well they engage. And, they feel like they can really contribute to that learning as well. They can really interact with the lessons. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. Again, if you want to access the map for free, there's a link in the chat. And if you have any questions, you can post them or you can email them to us and we'll be happy to address those for you.
Is there a discounted rate for schools who purchase many app subscriptions? Yes.
Yes, there is. Yes.
You can either check it out directly on the website, or you can reach out to Herbert and he will be able to help you with everything.
I'll put my email here because I like making new friends. And if anyone wants me to if they have any questions, maybe that may be more helpful afterwards, maybe after you walked away, this is my email, herbert@cleverbooks.eu. So feel free to send us any questions there. I'll be the person behind the call or behind the email, and I'll be very happy to jump in and answer any questions that you may have. Again, I highly recommend you jump into it because this is the experience that the other teachers have seen for their students. And I wish I wish this solution was available. I was presented to Professor earlier, and what the comments are, I wish these solutions were available earlier, because for a lot of people, learning is not so much something that they hate, but it's something that they feel like it's hard work, and this makes it fun. And when you're that age, I just think it's very nice, right? It's an extra step. I mean, these are all people who are already using it. And so far, it's been super positive. And I personally really love it. And that I have no problem recommending it. I already bought it for my little sisters, so I have no problem recommending it. And let me know if you have any questions.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, everyone, for participation. And if you have any questions, reach out to Herbert, please. And we're happy to help you as well. Thank you. Awesome. That was very useful, Herbert. Brilliant. Thank you so much. And we have more webinars covering other subjects where we're happy to assist you, and looking forward to seeing you again. Thank you.
Awesome. Enjoy.